The zero-tolerance policy of the Trump administration resulted in our agents, the Department of Homeland Security, forcibly separating children from their parents, forcibly separating up to 3,000 children from their parents. I saw some of those kids separated by that agency. They were toddlers and infants. Some were being held by the care workers that I happened to visit up in Chicago. Little babies taken from their mothers, toddlers, children 5 and 6 years old, separated by this agency under the president's zero-tolerance policy. Up to 3,000 of them, according to the administration's own estimates. Had that happened before? Only rarely. But it became the policy of this administration until there was such an uproar in the United States and around the world that President Trump reversed his position on zero tolerance. But reversing the position did not return the children to their parents. It took federal courts to do that, and one in particular in San Diego, where the judge called the representatives of ICE, Health and Human Services, and all the other agencies involved in these children being removed forcibly from their parents, and gave them deadlines to return the children to their parents. And it was then that we discovered something about this agency. It was then that we discovered that they didn't keep a record of the parents and kids. If you place an order online at Amazon or some other source, and the next day want to check on the status of your order, you use your tracking number and they'll tell you where your package is. There was no tracking number when it came to these kids. If you decide that you're going to order a pizza and it seems to take a little too long, and you call the pizza parlor, they can generally tell you where the messenger is, or the delivery person. And the same thing's true in so many other areas. So why then did this agency, which my colleagues are now coming to the floor claiming such great praise for, ignore the obvious? This agency, the Department of Homeland Security, ended up setting free 3,000 children into care facilities around the United States of America and didn't keep records of their parents. When we asked them several weeks ago downstairs, all the agencies, including ICE, that was referred to by the senator from Arkansas, we asked them, okay, let's get down to basics. How many kids are we talking about? They wouldn't give us a number. Or how many kids under the age of 5? Those are the ones that you have a deadline to reunite under the federal court order in San Diego. They couldn't give us a number. All right, then how many parents can you identify who actually had their kids taken away? ICE said we can identify 10. 10 parents, 3,000 kids. I'm not making this up, Mr. President. This is exactly what they said. They said we have 10 parents in custody. Those are the ones we can identify. 2 weeks passed, and we had another briefing this week. The numbers are now more complete. 2,500 kids separated from their parents, spread around the United States, and some 1,800 parents. What about the difference? What happened to 700 parents who lost their children? Well, the explanation from ICE was they abandoned their kids and left. Does that sound reasonable? Does that sound honest? You take the child away from the arms of a parent, and then the parent says, I'm leaving the country? That might have happened in some cases for reasons I don't know, but it's an outrageous suggestion. And what it reflects on is incompetency. How in the world can you take a child away from a parent, forcibly take them away, and not keep an adequate record for their reunification? How can you do that? Common sense, common decency suggests that you would do it. So I'm not going to join in any resolution here applauding that action by any federal agency, Department of Homeland Security or ICE or other agencies. To me, it is a stain on the reputation of this nation, one that we need to quickly resolve by reuniting these children with their families as quickly as possible. Because you see, it isn't just a question of a holiday for these kids. Pediatricians have come forward, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and said what we have done is institutional abuse of children. This separation is not just another day in the life of this 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old. This separation is something that is causing trauma within their own minds. Have you read the stories about the reunification? Where some of the parents come back, finally get the children, and the children won't even come to the parents? They don't quite understand what just happened to them. They think the parent might have just decided to give them up. And there they were alone and by themselves at that tender age. Can you imagine that for your children or your grandchildren? I can't. We did it as part of official government policy of the Trump administration under zero tolerance. So when some of us come to the floor to question the actions, the conduct, the management of ICE, we have good reason to do it. And I hope that for the people within that agency who are doing their jobs conscientiously, that we can at least be honest in saying that this policy is one which doesn't deserve praise and doesn't deserve our adoration on the floor of the United States Senate or the U.S. House. Mr. President, I yield the floor.